Polar vortex, welcome to the coldest day in Lake Placid sliding in a long while. We are here for the opening race of a five-race weekend, crammed into Friday and Saturday at the Olympic venue for the 1932 and 1980 Winter Games. Welcome back, everybody, to -20 and below. It's cold and very fast here at Lake Placid. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, first heat gives us plenty to look forward to for heat 2.
Yeah, Matt Antoine medaled in Whistler last week. He had the 11th best start time in the first heat, but he's been down the track more than anybody in the field. And on the bottom part of the track, he took his 6'3" frame and rocketed to the bottom and ended up with a bronze medal position going into heat 2. But now Alexander Trechikov is next, and this is a Russian rocket who knows how to medal on this track. And start time 483, 1300s off the start record, but it's cold up there. He hit sparks up there at the exit of 3, hitting the wall. Bottom part of the track, he had some problems into the finish, and he had the second best time. And the guy they're all chasing, well, we're getting used to this name, Sun Bin Young from Korea. 483 start, just as Trechikov had, but on the bottom part of the track, he found a little bit more time. He was clean into the finish, and he's got a lead by 0.03 of a second over the Russian rocket. It's cold, it's fast, and it's going to be pretty interesting in the second run.
And the man in sixth position, Martin Stukel, has had the most dramatic run of all. He wasn't in leading contention. He could have been top 3. Crashed out of the final corner, crossed the finish line, upside down on his back, clinging onto his sled on his chest. He could improve, but nobody's going to want to spend too long in the leader's box, because that means being outside in a temperature that is now down to -26 Celsius. 20 fastest sleds from the first heat go through into heat 2. So from Matthias Guggenberger of Austria on down, they will be wrapped up warm and keeping out of the cold weather. So 20 down to 1, and as John just said, Yoon Sung Bin of Korea, who's had 2 medals here in the last 3 seasons, will be the last to go. Everybody inside keeping warm in the start hut.
Don't blame him.
Yeah, no kidding. And just again, big shout out to our camera guys, all the technicians out on the hill, and all the track workers. We've all been here since pre-dawn, and we'll be here till well after dark, and those guys are outside. John and I are in the announce booth with gloves, boots, coats and hats on. It's that not warm. And the ice, well, the track crew have done a really great job this week in what have been pretty cold conditions, but today trying to keep that ice together is going to be the devil's own job. Hiro Takahashi of Japan goes off first of our 20 sliders. Both heats count, so it's your total time for both runs that decide where you finish. If you didn't have a great first run, yes, we're looking at Martin Stukel's there, then you can improve by having a much better second run. But the gaps at the top are very tight. Just 300s separate the last 2 men who'll come down on ice.
Martin Stukel, who's in 6th place, has won this event the last 5 times they've run it. And what we saw in the first heat with him crashing in the finish curve, going to be a pretty interesting second run.
Japan's Hiro Takahashi, first of our 20 athletes in the second deciding run, heat 2 of the World Cup campaign. Away he goes. First start for him was a 5:12.
Yeah, 21st best start. And, you know, he used to be a better starter than that. You know, we used to see him challenging in the top 10 in a lot of competitions. This baseball player just doesn't seem to have the same competitive challenge. You see the sparks right there?
Yeah.
That's where everybody hits, and that little part of the sled has created a little impact in the brittle ice. Is gone away from that wall, so they're hitting smack, causing the sparks. We'll see more of that.
Cliffside and White Face, named after the mountain that's across the valley here in the Adirondacks. We're on the side of Mount Van Hovenberg. Darn, I knew there was something I needed to research last night. Find out who Van Hovenberg was. Out of Bedhamspen through the chicane. Good run from Takahashi. And down into the heart. This right-left-right complex, or left-right-left as the athletes see it, that completes the run down this track. 54.63 for him. 100th of a second faster at the start, 100th of a second faster at the bottom of the track. You have to bear with us. Our guys out on the mountain are dealing with the heat, as human bodies do, with the cold rather. The electronics not quite so well adapted, I'm afraid, so we may end up losing a camera or two. Luckily,
he's the first guy down. He's 54.63. He's 100th better than his first run, which is an improvement.
Second man on the ice, rather, Kyle Tress, 19th place after the first heat. A little disappointed with that. 0.05 of a second faster than Takahashi in the first run. Now, nobody drops out of the top 20 because the guys who finished out of the top 20 in Heat 1 don't get a second run. However, Kyle will be looking to try and improve on his performance. He too started in 5.12. Let's see if there's any more speed at the start this time.
Yeah, very disappointing start. That should be back to 5.14. So that's, you know, he's got green numbers now into red. That's related to the start. He got beat by 300 at the start, and the two of them were only separated by 5. So Kyle knows the track as good as anybody, and 400 back. So now with a good slide, he should be able to overcome this.
Here we go, closing in, 100th behind Takahashi.
Here's the green numbers on the exit of Shady. Found the nice lines. 700s. Bang. Not too bad. 117 speed at 72.7 miles an hour. See, the shades are putting them up there because even though they say that those shades are going down to protect the sun from coming out on that curve 19, they say the sun deteriorates it even in these temperatures, which is hard to believe.
Well, what Tony Carlino and the track crew are trying to do is make sure that the temperature of the ice is the same for everyone.
There's the sparks. No, yeah. He hit, see that gouge? When they hit right into the gouge with that part of the sled causes the sparks. He was down this side of it. Good transitions here. He's the leader. No, second. What are we talking about?
Yeah, Takahashi stays in the leader's box. Somebody rushed that Japanese slider a coat, and then another one and another one.
So Kyle Tress on his home track, not the result he wanted.
You see on his bib, start draw number 20, and that's probably where he's going to end up. There's Hester, our floor manager. She's out there for the duration as well. John Farrow, start draw number 1 for the Aussie, now 34-year-old. Former downhill mountain bike racer. You would think that you couldn't find many more dangerous pursuits. Well, apparently you can.
He didn't have a very good start. He was the first guy down. You know, he's a better starter than the worst starter in the field.
Well, not really. Since he blew his ACL, blew his knee, and wrecked his ankle, he's nearly spent 2 seasons barely being able to walk. 5:31. It's a little quicker than his first start.
He flew down the track pretty nice, though.
Yep. And he was the first man to discover just how different the ice is today. Yesterday, the temperature was 15, nearly 20 degrees warmer. The ice temperature was 15 degrees. And we're talking Celsius here, not just Fahrenheit. So it's a very different track today.
Nice transition up there. Douglas Highway. Now into Shady Curve. Labyrinths. 3-corner combination. Every track's got to have one.
He was 2600s back. He's brought that down to 14.
That's not bad speed. 73.3 miles an hour. Perfect lines down here. He could have a chance to maintain his position. No. Oh, he does.
He does by 300ths of a second.
I was counting him out, but wow. So one thing John Farrow just showed us, he knows how to come down the track fast on the bottom part.
Yep. Well, there's Hiro Takahashi. He can move out the leader's box and into the warm shed.
These pictures up here on the exit of the third labyrinth into Benham's Bend.
Yeah.
Good run, John.
So, happy with that. Trying to get some feeling back in the fingers. He'll be in the leader's box in a moment. Just going to leave his sled parked up there. Next up is Joe Cicchini. This Calgary cop sliding for Italy.
At least he's got his bib on. Again, last week he got to the start line. We recognized right away he didn't have his bib on. He went down, had a good time, 15th or 16th. He was disqualified.
What a horror story, yeah. Really.
11th best start in the first run. So he's definitely improved his fitness and his technique here in the first 50 meters.
Yeah, he said he was not healthy last season at all. He's had a very busy summer break. He's still a full-time member of the Calgary Police Department. 15 59.51 first, 54.45 first slide.
Well, green numbers. He's got, you know, a little bit of a lead. 800s on Farrell, but it's up to 50 now. That's relative to the start, and you know, that should be enough. 50 hundredths is a lot of time. He's down to 35, but if there's any track where that you can make some mistakes on and lose a half second of time, it's this Lake Placid track, and the time's coming back. He's down to 21 hundredths.
Saw him steering hard out of shady.
Big hit there.
Up.
Boy, he doesn't have any kind of speed. 72 mile an hour. He's almost down to 1 mile an hour. To Farrell, it's red numbers, so he's lost it. Got it. Look at fourth best time. Look at that. The top 4 sleds that have come down are now separated by 14 hundredths. Johnny Farrell moves up 1 spot. He likes it. Put your jacket on, John.
Yeah.
There you go. Here, watch him on the left side of our screen. He hits the chicane. It's not. It's an S. And he just tried to sneak through there. That cost him a lot of speed, and that cost him a lot of time.
Yeah. Unfortunate run for Joe Cicchini. He drops down to 4th place. John Farrow leads. 4 of 20 athletes down in our second and deciding heat. Round 2 of the Skeleton Men's World Cup. Next up, with the maple leaf on the chin and the grizzly on the helmet, Barrett Martineau. And like his compatriots, the Canadians don't have a lot of time on this track. He said, you can name any German track you like. I've had more runs on any of them than I've had here in Lake Placid.
You know, they're from the west, so they use Park City, Calgary, and Whistler, which are a lot closer than coming all the way east to the historic track here in Lake Placid.
Last Canadian to claim a medal on this track in men's skeleton, John Montgomery, 2007-8 season. It's been a while.
He's got a little bit of a lead over Cicchini, 100th and the 900ths on the John Farrell at the bottom, and you know, the Bear needs to have some good lines. He's got that 5500s, just like we saw Cicchini come down, but Cicchini lost a whole half second on the bottom part of this challenging Lake Placid track. There it is, just like Cicchini, half second lead on the exit shade.
Yeah, but he's holding it. That's the difference. The speed is high there as well. 69.9 to Farrow's 70 miles an hour. Still half a second up. Good run from Barrett.
That's great speed there. So that's very good speed. 73.3 top speed in the heat so far. Should be the leader unless some kind of hits the wall here at the end. No.
Oh, just chased by it. 54.31. Now that could put him up very close to a top 10 finish.
Yeah.
He might need to wrap up warm. Barrett Martineau could be out in the cold there for some while. And they're not even in the sunny part of the finish, Doc, either. We need to think about that for next season.
Good lines here through the chicane.
See how much he's moving the body, the legs, the hips, swiveling to try and keep those runners straight, to put the pressure on the one that needs it most. Takes the lead from John Farrow. Nice work there. Yeah, shuffle. We need to think where the sun's going to be, or
yeah, he's asking for his hat.
telling Hester where the clothes are. Barrett Martineau leads from John Farrow with 5 of our sleds down. Canadian athlete leading the field with 5 of 20 down. Next up is Dave Greshcheshin of Canada, 15th after the first heat. Teammate Barrett Martineau was 16th. So the Canadians a long way from a top 10 in the first heat, but another man with a bear on the helmet, the nickname Grizz. Let's see what he can produce here.
We have a Grizz on our TV crew.
Yeah, we do.
5:05 start. Well, he had a 5:05 start in the first run, and he's got a 500ths lead on his teammate who's down in the leader's box.
This is going to be tight. If he can keep pace with Barrett Martineau, both Canadians could climb several places up the order.
And they both have the experience.
Yeah, it's a good-looking run. Again, Grizz said he doesn't really know this track well.
And there's a lot of time he lost right there. He's 1300s back. I don't know if he's going to catch his teammate on the bottom.
He may not do, but there's half a second back to John Farrow, so he'll be in front of Farrow as well. Or maybe not.
2600s. He should stay 35, 40 hundredths behind here. finish.
Avoids the walls, which is crucial.
Fifth best time. He
200ths of a second behind John Farrow. Wow.
No speed in the bottom. He was 2 miles an hour down to his teammate.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, the bottom part below the chicane, you could see that the sled just didn't look as twitchy and as nervous as it should do when it's carrying good speed.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time here. Watch him late off 3. Bang, does he hit her again? No, he comes in pretty good to 4. He lost a lot of time up top of the track. And the biggest guy in the field, the thickest guy in the field, just didn't have any speed down here. And could be runners.
Well, there is Dave Cheshin, lies in 3rd place. John Farrow 2nd for Australia. Barrett Martineau, the race leader for Canada, wearing everything he owns. Next up for the USA is Nathan Crumpton, born in Nairobi, Kenya. Claims to have been a water buffalo rodeo rider. Taken out with just a slight pinch of salt, I think, possibly.
Track and field, triple jumper from Princeton University, one of the best ever that Ivy League schools produced, and he applies his track and field instinct to a good start. 6th best start in the first run, 498. Should improve. 494. Well, you know, this is 2nd year on tour. He's got quite a resume.
He didn't compete in this race last year, or in January.
Second half of the year he started.
No, he did all of the races except for this one. I can't remember the story as to why.
Doesn't like the track, too. Didn't he tell us that?
Yeah, least favorite.
4200s lead, which we've seen those half-second leads get thrown away down here, but he's accelerating. 118, 119. No one's been at 74 miles an hour like he has right there. Wow, that's some great speed, so he could accelerate away. This could be a run that moves him up, too. That's a good run. 53.88 for the Princeton University graduate.
That's a whole second faster than we just saw Dave Cheshin come down, so there is plenty of speed still in this. This ice is not going away, not with the temperature it got down to last night. 3,800's
better in his 2nd run than the 1st run. The sun's coming out, they're putting some shades down. Believe it or not, even at these temperatures, the shades, the sun does affect the ice. Look at his head come up. Sparks? No sparks. You see that big groove on the right side. Somebody will hit some sparks there. Corrects well with the 4.
Well, he looks a lot happier with that 2nd heat than he did with the 1st. The 1st got away from him below shady, and the 2nd one, neat and tidy. So Nathan Crumpton, the USA, leads as Lee Han-sin from Korea is next up. Richard Bromley, who builds all the Bromley Tech sleds, holds it for him and then lays it down into the ice at the last possible moment.
You know, this
100th of a second his advantage over Crumpton from the 1st heat. He's going to have to find something very special to hang on in front.
Well, he had a 20th best start of 5:08, so 5:06. Everybody seems to be getting a little better because the temperatures improved from -15 maybe to -14. So there's his 5:07. He had a good ride down the track with the start time. He had good speed in the bottom. Exit here is going to be crucial to his opportunity for the leader at the bottom.
What the athletes will have been doing between the runs is working out what they can do to adjust their sled better to the ice temperatures today, because it's a lot colder than yesterday. Once you've chosen a runner, you're not allowed to change the runners, but you can change the aggressive rock on them, either make it more aggressive for better control or less aggressive.
Okay, he's losing all sorts of time. 38, you know, speed. Oh, not the speed we saw Crumpton have either. He's a mile an hour down. So now the question is, how many places is he going to fall? He could fall 2 or 3 places here.
Yeah, 2nd at the moment, 3rd just behind Barrett Martineau.
So Martineau moves up 1. Hansen moves down 2. Nathan Crumpton from Princeton University lives in the leader's box on a blustery day. And here, the speed, now he gets caught in the chicane, you know, that double bump. You know, you want to come through there straight.
He was trying not to steer, but in the end, it just dragged him over to that right-hand wall, and he took a big hit. That's the biggest we've seen, I think, in this 2nd heat. So Nathan Crumpton leads from Barrett Martineau, and Lee Han-sin drops 2 spots to 3rd. Next up is Great Britain's Dom Parsons. Now, Dom off a 5:05 start. That was only the 15th fastest start.
surprised at that. I mean, you know, when he first came out 3 years ago now, the season started, he medaled up in Calgary, and we thought the British were onto something, some guy that was really going to start to be successful for him in the men's program, like they are in the women's program. But he, you know, he's back to 15th best start. I wonder if he's got some kind of a physical problem, because he should not be the 15th best starter in the field.
Finished 7th last year, and that was a little bit of a disappointing run for him on this track in January, so he shouldn't be down there in 12th place either.
400-meter sprinter, tall, 5:04, which compared to the 5:05 in the first heat. Now you can see the sun all coming out now. The sun's going to reduce the friction of the track. The speed should get faster. We've seen a lot of people have a lot faster speeds here in times in the second run.
10th behind Nathan Crumpton. Now, can he find any speed to close in on the American?
We've got our shady camera back. Beautiful work for our crew that's dealing in some very difficult conditions. Now then, he's still second. He's only 500s back. He was 9 to 5. Great run. Huge speed. Best speed we've seen in the heat. He could get green numbers here. Clean in the finish. Watch the exit uphill. There's the green numbers. Can't hit here. He sneaks through with the lead. Wow. There's 53.88.
Exactly the same time that Nathan Crumpton set. So it's the first round advantage that keeps Don Parsons in front by 600.
So 3,200's better. This is it. This is the speed. This is the best speed we've seen, 74.4 miles an hour, and that's as clean as you can get through that chicane. That's why he's the leader, and that's, I still expect better start times out of him, though. I'm a little perplexed why he does not have a better start.
So Don Parsons for Great Britain in the leader's box, Nathan Crumpton, the USA, in second position, but they might both rise another spot or two. There's Martin Rettel, the coach for Ander Mirambel, this man who trains with one of the Barcelona football clubs, Espanyol. Everybody knows about Barcelona, Barca. Barca versus Espanyol is the match for Espanyol, the hometown derby. That's this weekend.
Hey, this is personal best for him last week, and he's personal best in position right now. And he was flying on the bottom part of the track with a very deficient start time in the first run.
Well, this is a track he knows pretty well. He likes. It was his best result last year of the season. He finished 18th. But if he can finish top 10, he will be ecstatic.
5:20 in the first run, 5:16 there. You know, we ask everybody what their favorite athlete is, and you know what he puts down? Anybody who fights for a dream.
There you go.
You know, and that's what he does up here.
1900s back. He's in 4th place on the splits.
But he was fast on the bottom.
Yeah.
First run.
Another Bromley sled.
2300s back now. That's a good sign that he's got a chance here in the bottom. He gets down to 18 or 20 here. He's got a chance. It's gone out to 30. Well, he's hit twice. Speed's pretty good, though.
Still in 3rd position, though, which would leave him no worse than a 14th place finish, which will be his best result on this track.
Finish down. Look at that at the bottom. 4th best time of the run. 3rd overall. Drops a couple spots. That's another top personal best for him.
Yep.
I mean, that's great. He's always fighting to make the cut. And
absolutely.
He's had 2 races here. He's in the better half of 15.
Well, and that's the big point, you know, for Ander. Last year, he made the cut exactly once in the entire World Cup season, and it was here, and he only finished 18th. This weekend, guaranteed no worse than 14th, and there may be a couple of slip-ups in front of him. He's in a tight little group of athletes in the field around the 10, 12, 14 position.
Looks hurt getting off his sled very tenuously there.
He was jubilant after the first run. Happy Christmas to everybody, he's saying. Ander Mirambel in 3rd place, Nathan Crumpton 2nd. Don Parsons leads, 10 down, 10 to go here in Lake Placid.
Track is clear from the finish to start 1.
Top 10 athletes from our first heat now go in reverse order in our second to decide the second race in the Skeleton Men's World Cup. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action trackside. This is New Zealander Rhys Thornberry. If he can finish 10th where he was after heat 1, this will be a personal best World Cup result for him, and a 5:09 getaway.
5:12 in the first run, so like everybody, he's improved. Exit here, coming up on 3. How hard does he hit the right wall? He's
He may have had the single best slide of his career so far in the first heat, and he's still in the lead over Don Parsons of Great Britain.
500 lead. He had 700s to start with. Parsons beat him a little bit at the start. Now it's out to 6. Second best at the moment.
I couldn't tell you what time it is in New Zealand, but I bet when Ben Sanford finds out what a good day Rhys Thornberry has had here, the only other Kiwi to take a medal here will be very happy.
He's almost a full mile an hour down. Which now the question is how many spots you can fall 2 spots.
Second place at the moment, third place, Rhys Thornberry. Well, that guarantees himself a top 12 finish pretty much.
You know, Parsons went way better, 3/10 better, and Thornberry went 2/10 slower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the consistency, or Parsons just had a bad first run.
Yeah.
But hey,
well, Dom had a
little best here for this guy, you know?
On this track in January, John, Rhys Thornberry here, 23rd, guaranteed no worse than 12th in December. Now that's progress.
That's progress.
23rd to 12th.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Axel Jung next up, and you've got to give some of the credit to that, not only to the Royal Air Force for letting Rhys Thornberry come and compete, but also to Martin Rettel, the coaching there, that little group of coaches for the smaller nation athletes, doing well. There's your race leader, Don Parsons of Great Britain, the Bromley Tech slider, and Axel Jung at the top of the track. Well, what's he got, an FES sled, maybe a Schneider? I guess probably an FES. Athletes tend to pick and choose it. And this is the pre-Olympic season. This is the season where you test all the kit. You give away results to learn
As
stuff.
we've seen from Dukars, who's tested equipment, is why he crashed at the finish curve in the first run. But this is where you want to peak to the end of this season, which is the final event. We're in Korea at Pyeongchang for the final World Cup, and that's where everybody's going to want to be on the equipment they're going to use in the games.
Axel Jung, 4:98 start, 100th quicker than his first heat. Now he's 4/10 up.
And he's a better slider. A little late there, the crossover. That's in the middle of the Devil's Highway. Slingshot out of Shady at the bottom part of the track.
And Canada Shady hit the wall on the left, though.
It's going to hurt him.
12's been a problem all weekend for everybody.
That's great speed, too. 73.9 miles an hour. Perfect aerodynamic form. Watch him in the finish. The straightaway needs to be clean here, and he is.
4/10 up, could be half a second at the line, not quite. 53.71, fastest run we've seen from anybody.
Yeah,
goodbye to Don
2300.
Parsons.
Yeah, 53.71. That would have put him in 5th. Place in the first run. We have faster track here in the second run. Nowhere near the track records, but the sun's coming out. Look, he's tenuous.
Well, listen, nobody gets off this track without getting a good hip shaking. There's a few hits to be taken here.
Up next, we
Watch
have
the right side here on the screen. Look at him fall off there, and he hit, and maybe hit the tail. Oh, he hit that pretty good. A lot of pressure. Here, the
big skid.
This is the last curve of the labyrinth, and that's not the way you want to look at the exit. Sliding off at 75 miles an hour. But Axel, good run.
Yeah, looking quite relaxed here this weekend. Tell you what, Hester is doing sterling work getting those back.
She's doing that to stay warm.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing there.
They're her boys. Nikita Chegibov next up for Russia. He was in 8th position after the first heat, only 300s ahead of Axel Jung, our current leader.
Let's watch his start. He slipped in the first run, so watch his left foot. If they show us, watch him come out of the blocks here. Let's see if he slips. Watch his left foot. He slipped. No, this time perfect grip, which means he should rock it into the 80s in the start.
Should be low 80s.
495 in the first run, 494. That's perplexing.
Okay.
He usually starts right
again,
up the top
having
guy.
slipped once, maybe he was just being cautious.
Maybe very cautious. This is a young 21-year-old with a bright future for Russia.
These damn kids, as Alexander Tretyakov calls him. Yeah, Nikita Chegibov, he's got the speed of Tretyakov at the start, all but, and he hasn't quite got the experience yet, but he's got a slender lead.
900's going to have to keep his head down here. Watch him come in the chicane at us as he comes straight. He's got a four. Straight, does not have speed. I expect this to be red numbers here into the finish.
Don't forget, did not race here in January.
There it is. Now the question is, how many spots is he going to fall? Don Parsons picks off another scalp, 53.99.
Well, only 800ths of a second off his previous run, so that's good consistency from Nikita Chegabov. Didn't race here in January last season. The top sliders, all of whom you'll see this year for Russia, were not here.
It's Axel Young that's the leader.
Yep.
Axel Young leads the leaderboard in first place.
Just drifted away a little. See how much his head is up. That's a sure sign that the slider's not confident, that they know the track well.
He doesn't have a lot of descents down the track.
And when the head comes up, the shoulders come up, and air gets between you and the sled, and it just all adds a few extra hundreds to your downtime. Alexander Gassner for Germany is next up, the man from the Winterberg track. 7th place in the first heat for him. 200s behind Martin Stukurz.
We have not seen him for a couple of years.
Nope. A couple of years off the World Cup trail in the Intercontinental Cup. That's the 2nd division.
You can see how covered the start area is. And all that on that wall, there's all aluminum that they put up there to cover the place up. It's almost like an indoor refrigerated rink, but with these temperatures.
Well, and, you know, plus the wind and the snow blowing in we've had the last couple of days. Yeah.
5:02 start. Decent.
A little quicker. The ice is a fraction less brittle. There's just a bit more grip for the spikes, and that gives you that extra bite.
Good tap out of 3 into 4. 300ths. Boy, he's going to be close. He's going to need to be perfect. German at the bottom in the leader's box. A German coming down the track.
And the margins were tiny between them. He was only 900ths of a second faster than Axel Jung, and he's dropped behind him by 100th of a second.
118 kilometers an hour, which is about 73.9 speed. 74, there's 119. Couple hits, but with that speed, he's got a chance.
Right to the chicane, it was looking good. When he hit there, particularly that left hit. No.
Look at that. Now, those couple hits, he just wore away that speed.
That cost him a quarter of a second. Axel Jung is now the 2nd best German because he has the lead at the moment, but there's still one to come.
Don't think there's not a race within a race amongst the countries.
Well, as I say this every week, if you can't beat your own teammates, you're never going to win. You know, if you're only the 3rd best German, the best chance you've got is bronze medal.
He had good speed, but a little mistake on the chicane up here at the top, too. Hits the right-hand wall like everybody. You see that big groove there. Now he drifts up. Does he hit the takeout here before he gets it? No, looks pretty good.
Pretty good, but the chicane here, he steers away a fraction from that right-hand wall, but not enough. And then that's the big hit.
That's the big hit.
I mean, you saw him just lifted bodily off the sled. Yeah, that's a quarter of a second right there. High drama in the first heat for Martin Stukurz of Latvia. He was challenging for a top 3 spot, few hundreds away from the lead. Crossed the finish line on his back.
This guy had won 5 straight races here in Lake Placid. And then in the first heat, he goes across the finish line upside down on his shoulder blades. And Mark, as you said, he's testing equipment.
Last time he was not on the podium here was the rainy World Championships in 2009, where 40-year-old Gregor Staley won gold from IOC member Adam Pengilly.
Second.
Man, what a race that was.
He came from like 12th.
15th into the final heat. And ended up with silver. But Stukurz now,
he's looking to move up, and you know, look at these lines. I mean, he's not falling off his sled here at all.
He's not building his legs to come down.
Yeah, he doesn't have to yet. 119.7 is pretty good, 74.4 miles an hour. This is where it problems. We're in the finish curve. Last run, better line, and through. And he made that look easy, but he's only, look at that, 53.78. Only 600ths ahead.
That would have left him 6th in the first heat. He was 6th in the first heat.
Yeah, that was a good run that time. Yeah. He wasn't upside down on his shoulder blades coming across the finish line, but I don't think.
Well, he's learned plenty today, and not all of it good.
Watch his left foot up here at the start. I mean, he had a little mishap too. I mean, the ice is pretty brittle, so this is not the same grip he usually has. Watch his feet here.
Of Latvia, brother to Martin Stukurz, is up next.
You know, he didn't have that great he had the best start, 493, but the first heat...
Look at the feet,
this.
look at the hips.
There, yeah.
That's not Martin Stukor's in control. The sled is not bending to his will. Normally you never see him move. He just thinks his way down the track and the sled does it. Whatever they were testing today, that's going in the reject pile.
600's worst start time. Everybody else is improving at the start too, so that's a little...
Thomas Ducour's next up, top 5. Thomas took the silver medal 2 seasons ago, bronze 3 seasons ago, and last season. So he was bronze medalist in January, only 5th in the first run.
5 flat. 496, wow.
Okay.
He's almost near his brother. Boy, if he had a start time like his brother, he'd be beating his brother more often. Today might be that day.
Will not have a Ducour's in the medals.
When was the last time we didn't have a Latvian on the leaderboard?
First medal of the season last year was here for Thomas.
He's accelerating away from his brother's time, and his brother did not have a very good bottom half, especially in the chicane coming up right at us here. And this is textbook. Best speed we've seen so far, 74.6 miles an hour. This will be the leader. Question is, can it be good enough to challenge for a medal?
Yes!
The 3:46.
Wow. But look at the gap, 4 tenths ahead of his brother. 53.46 would have left him 100th out of bronze in the first heat.
Yeah,
that's a good run.
Quarter second better. So the track does have better speeds available. And
they'll find it now because they now know what the ice is like after the first heat, whereas first heat, it's guesswork.
Of course, they're just warming the track up for the 2-man bobsled for the coming in about 45 minutes, too. Look at the line. And this is textbook. Okay, you want to know how to get through the chicane? This is how to do it, and he's a 6'2" athlete.
And look how still he was compared to his brother, whose hips were going from one side to another like a fish swimming down the ice.
Martin Ducour will not win his 6th consecutive race in Lake Placid. It's up to his brother now.
Thomas and Martin Ducour's 1-2 at the moment. 4 sleds still to go. Christopher Grohe of Germany in 4th place after the first of our 2 heats here in Lake Placid, upstate New York. And he's some way out of a bronze medal position. There was a big gap back to the 4th place man.
5:06 first run, 17th best start. Should be 5:02, 5:03. Everybody seems to be improving. 4:99. Whoa. A lot better start time. He's going to need it.
He's going to need it because he was only 300s in front of Thomas Ducour. He lost that 300s in the run alone. Now he's got to outdrive the Latvian to try and get a medal here.
2100s back. That's relative to the start. Now, you know, he's got good lines. He had great lines in the first run. Good speed on the bottom part of the track, but he's lost all sorts of time. Almost 4/10 back. He's going to need 122 kilometers down here in this speed trap to have any kind of a chance, and he does. He got 119, that's good. 74 mile an hour speed, but now the question is, how many spots is he going to fall?
5th place at the moment on split times. This is a little bit of a disappointment, to say the least.
Best time of the run, he falls 3 places.
Behind his teammate Axel Jung, who was only the 3rd best of the Germans in the first heat, now comes in to lead the German trio.
Jens Mueller, their coach, looks on, knows this is not a great day for his team. And it was a good opportunity because they were ahead of the Ducour brothers coming into this heat.
Got bumped from the World Cup team in the reshuffle at Christmas, so he didn't race here in January, so Grote's not been on this ice for a couple of seasons, and that shows.
Well, out of 3, bang, really hard bang, early off the curve.
That's the sort of hit that rattles your eyeballs in these temperatures.
There's a hit over here on the right side too. Yep, double hit out of the chicane. That's costly.
So Christopher Grote lies in 4th place. 3 to go. Thomas and Martin Ducour's 1st and 2nd. Bronze medalist 2 years ago, Matt Antoine for the USA, lies 3rd after the first of our 2 heats in Lake Placid. On the side of an arctically cold Mount Van Hovenberg, can he put himself back into medal position?
3rd in Whistler last week.
That's what Antoine needs, is to keep this medal streak going.
5:03 in the first run. Everybody's better. So Matt should get inside of 5 seconds.
Last American before him to take a medal here, Eric Benotus and Zach Lund. Zach Lund is coaching Matt this weekend.
Hard to believe that stat. You said that the New Zealand has got as many medals than the U.S. in the last 5 years.
In the last 9 years.
This track. That's shocking to me when you told me that in the first run.
2,500s ahead of Thomas Ducours, now down to 2,100s. Ducours had a blinding second run.
This is for a medal. 22, he's pulled away. Excellent shading. Slick shot effect here at the bottom.
Great form from Matt Antoine. Look at the control, look at the style.
He's been down the track more than anybody else, and he's shown it. Perfect lines through chicane. Speed, 74.5 miles an hour.
Ticking all the boxes.
That Antoine is going to have at least a bronze medal here today. Does 53.47, 200 slower. But that's good enough for a medal. Very consistent for Matt Antoine. 2 consecutive runs, toughing the tour.
Yeah.
Down
at the bottom will be Zach Lund, who took a bronze medal here in the 2007-8 season.
Our Wisconsin athlete feeling probably running home in this weather.
There you go. Although he now lives in Arizona, he says every time he goes home it feels like a holiday. I tell you what, after this, won't it though?
Hey, textbook. Hey, this is how you get through here. This is as clean. The only other person we see come through there is Thomas Ducours.
You can barely see anything other than the vertical profile of the runner. What a great run through the chicane.
At least a bronze. Could even be better.
Who knows? 2 to go in Lake Placid. Last time that this man was here, Alexander Tretyakov, was 2 seasons ago. He hasn't been among the medals for 4 years on this North American track. Tretyakov has only taken 2 medals in World Cup, not even in World Cup, 1 in World Cup, 1 in the World Champs in 2009.
483 in the first run. Everybody's getting better. 483 in the second run. And, you know, there's a separation of 300s between him and the Korean athlete coming up next. And this Russian rocket, as we call him, is going to need to be perfect coming down the track if he expects to win his first ever gold medal on this track.
Yeah, this is about whether Tretyakov or Yun win the gold here and break Martin Ducours' streak.
I believe Ducours will not be on the podium. I'm going to bet some money.
This is why we're not betting men.
Okay, so now this isn't about, again, challenging Matt Antoine, but it's 3,700s, 120.7, 75 plus miles an hour. The Russian rocket will put himself at least in a silver medal position. No worse than silver, 53.22, 500s better than his first run. Matt Antoine knows that he got beat at the start there. He got beat by 1,500s at the start.
Yep.
Total time, Antoine's 4,300s behind. He got beat by 4,500s at the start, 2 runs. So what the Russian Rockets made a living off start times.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago in Whistler, Matt Antoine bronze, Alexander Tretyakov silver. That might be the positions they live in here as well. Tretyakov doesn't get the greatest run through the chicane. He has the lead, but there is one man still to come. The man who's been closest to Thomas Ducours, to Martin Ducours in the last couple of years, and who won our season opener in Whistler. Sun Bin-yun of Korea wears the yellow vest of the points leader.
And he also wears that Iron Man colored helmet.
He does.
So
the Russian rocket versus Iron Man.
And he is technically, first of all, look at the quads. Look at the quads on him. 483 start, and I would believe he's probably going to get that or better. Look at the size of this guy from the hips down.
He's got great turnover, huge power.
There it is,
481.
Okay, so, you know, the best start gives you the best chance for the best finish. And this guy has the best start time, and he's becoming very technically proficient, and he's not that old of a guy. So, 22-year-old man. Ooh, mistake there. This guy has really been impressive.
Could have 3 Olympic cycles in him. 500ths of a second. This is...
Ooh, he's way back. He's way back. That mistake he made up there, curve 5, 6, 7, that really cost him.
Too much work going on with the feet, the head are up. This is going to be Tretyakhov's race, but is Matt Antoine going to take the silver medal here?
Speed's not bad, 74 miles an hour. The mistake up top cost him this gold medal.
Tretyakov has never won on this track.
He did today. Wow, fourth, Matt Antoine gets a silver. So
Wow.
we might have said too much too soon. So
Alexander Tretyakov, our race winner. 2 races, 2 different winners, and Tretyakov will take the points lead.
Yeah, and the mistake up there at 5, 6, 7, up there above Devil's Highway, sealed it. He got on, he came off a curve too early and bumped on the take-on. This wasn't too bad. This wasn't where he made his big, a little bit of a skid there. Look, he comes in way too on the wrong side of that curve. Right here, right there is where he made the mistake.
Now, whatever changes they made to the sled between the runs did not work. It was looser. He was fighting for control all the way down.
Yeah,
and Alexander Tretyakov takes a win that he was not expecting.
Look at that. So from the intermediate time, he was 5, and then the next intermediate clock, he was 18 behind.
Yeah,
quarter second he lost up there on that hit. Curve 6, 7.
Yeah, and that just multiplies all the way down. Once you give away that speed, you never get it back. Alexander Tretyakov takes his first win of the season. Did not win a race last year.
Wow.
Only did half the World Cup season. He had 3 silver medals, and then only did 1 other World Cup race.
5 different nations in the first 6.
Yep.
It's a nice start of the World Cup here in Lake Placid.
In the last 2 seasons, only Sunbin Yun once and Alexander Tretyakov once have beaten Martin Stukurz. Today, it's Tretyakov's turn. Yun and Tretyakov have won a race apiece, and we're only 2 races into the season.
Wow.
Great demonstration of fluidity. It wasn't perhaps the technically greatest run, but when you've got speed on board like Tretyakov and a first-round advantage, might not have to be technically proficient. Alexander Tretyakov claims victory. Matt Antoine silver, the best US result since victory for Eric Benotus in 2007's December race. Sunbin Yun of Korea, our points leader, slumps to 3rd, as Thomas and Martin Stukurz are 4th and 5th. Axel Junk comes up from 9th after the first heats to round out the top half dozen. Career best for Rhys Thornberry, 12th, and Andrew Mirambel, 13th position. Good day for those guys, coached by Martin Rettel. Well, 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 some guys having a horrible time here, and a couple of guys who are normally down towards the bottom of the 15 to 25 group really performing superbly. Rhys Thornberry and Mirambel, you can't say enough about either of those 2 guys.
That's awesome for those guys.
And it's not start position, and start position number 4, Rhys Thornberry start position number 18. You know, they're single nation sliders, and they basically have just, you know, with a little bit of coaching experience with Martin Rettel and that little crew, they are all adding into this sort of little tight knot of small nations. There's Whiteface. What a beautiful look over the Adirondack Mountains here.
Site of the 1980 Olympic Games Alpine competitions. Phil and Steve Mayer, and who else was the great Sweden skier? Lost my concentration.
No, don't do that now. Don't ask for ski names. I'm trying to keep my skeleton head on. Don't forget, after the skeleton race, we have double duty this afternoon. We've got 2-man bobsled and the women's bobsled race, and it's gonna basically come as 4 heats all together. Gonna flip-flop 2-man women, 2-man women, to try and reduce the amount of time that everybody spends in the Arctic temperatures. We're just wondering.
Supposed to get warmed up tonight.
No, we were wondering this morning whether the kids from Lake Placid Elementary would be coming out because it was so cold. Glad to see they're all down there inside shady, romping in the snow. So,
the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
What a summer we had here. Oh, in the winter, we've got some good snow base coming into the Christmas holidays, but on Sunday they're talking about some rain here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's not what we want to hear. You can see right now the nice snow base right now.
Yeah, looking beautiful this morning. Swathed in cloud yesterday as it snowed in the afternoon, but Whiteface is gorgeous. Arctic temperatures in Lake Placid as Alexander Tretiakov takes the points lead with his first win of the season from Sunbeam Unit Korea. Matt Antoine with a bronze and a silver is now in third place. And our, how many consecutive time World Cup champion Martin Stukors is in fourth position. And look at that, Rhys Thornberry and Ander Mirambel tied for 13th place in the World Cup standings with Dave Krejcichin. That's an exceptional performance from the Spaniard and the Kiwi so far this season. Well, we talk about the minor nations, and of course one of the Goliaths of ice sliding is the Russian machine, Alexander Tretiakov. His first win in 2 seasons almost, as he claims victory in Lake Placid, a track on which he has never won before. He's only ever had 2 medals in his entire career here at the top tier. World Cup bronze 4 seasons ago, World Championship bronze in 2009. Well, Sunbeam Unit Korea led after the first heat, but changes, I think, to the sled got away from him in the second. He dropped down to 3rd position. Matt Antoine on the left of your shot in 2nd. He'll be happy with that silver medal. That's his personal best here. And the first silver medal for an American since Caleb Smith a decade ago. Zach Lund won, Caleb was 2nd, and Eric Benotis was 3rd. And that rounds out our skeleton men's action for the Lake Placid weekend. Lots more sliding still to come. Stay with us in Mount Van Hoevenberg.